Vienna Instruments Pro offers quite some elementary innovations when it comes to managing and working with matrix files. One main enhancement is that instead of being limited to 12 matrices, you can now load up to 127 matrices in each instance of Vienna Instruments Pro. As it doesn't make sense to work with key switches when you're working with such a quantity of matrices, you can also use program changes to switch between these matrices. You can toggle between seeing key switches or program changes with this button. To ensure a clearly laid out administration, these numbers are not editable. So if you'd like to assign a certain matrix to a certain program change, you can easily do so by moving the matrix in the matrix list. In addition, you can now also use a controller to switch between matrices, and you can choose your controller in the Matrix CC field you find in the Option tab of the Advanced view. Key switches and program changes will of course still be available even if you assign a controller in this field. Every matrix strip now also includes a volume display. This makes it very easy to adjust the volume levels of different matrices in a few seconds. We have loaded a string matrix without Sordino and one concertina, and it's really simple to adjust the volume as needed. To refine the sound of different articulations, you'll find the 3-band equalizer very helpful. It's available for every individual matrix. In this case, we're using it to adapt the concertina strings to the strings without Sordino. If you'd like to go further than adding just an EQ to selected articulations individually, after all there are so many other mixing tools like compressors or exciters available, you can choose from up to 4 stereo outputs for each matrix. Later on, you can assign multiple plugins to these channels in hosts like Vienna Ensemble Pro or in your sequencer. All these possibilities allow for a clearly arranged workflow in combination with your sequencer or notation program, as only one instance of Vienna Instruments Pro is needed for each virtual instrument or ensemble, and all necessary adjustments for a good mix can be made in this one instance. Another innovation is the allocation of alternative scales on the matrix level. You can choose from Arabic, Baroque, just intonations, and more. As these scales can be customized for each matrix, you can also create a combination of different scales in one instance of Vienna Instruments Pro. With just intonation scales, it absolutely makes sense to load one matrix multiple times. You can also copy the matrix and assign different key switches to these matrices that will trigger the corresponding scale for each key. Key switch C triggers a just intonation in C, key switch D triggers the just intonation in D. And if you'd like to switch all matrices back to one scale, simply click the pin button.